My, oh my, do we have a special treat for you here tonight at Great American Ballpark. Johnny Cueto, arguably the best pitcher in all the baseball right now, and off to one of the best starts in Reds history. He'll go up against a Colorado team that's off to its best start ever, with an offense that leads the National League in nearly every offensive category. A matchup of strengths, the Rockies and the Reds, coming up right now on Fox Sports Ohio. A very pleasant weather night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. And we welcome you to Great American Ballpark after a 2-game road trip to Boston. Right back at it to start the first of 6 in Cincinnati. And it begins with a 3-game series against the high-flying Colorado Rockies. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Johnny Cueto, 2 years ago, a 19-game winner. All that time on the DL a season ago. And back to being Johnny Cueto, better than ever so far this year.
Well, in the short time we've seen Johnny Cueto in here in 2014, he has been by far the best pitcher that I've seen in a long, long time. In fact, he was described by Brian Price as being Greg Maddux-like, which is saying something right there. But you've got to add to the fact that he has better stuff as far as an overall fastball than Maddux. I mean, these kind of numbers are unbelievable. When you're looking at a 132 opponent batting average, it's even way less than that with runners in scoring position. He simply does not give up big innings at all, period. And we will find out tonight whether good pitching stops good hitting.
Because you look inside these Colorado numbers, Chris, where they lead the league, it is scary.
Well, you do expect the Rockies to have good offensive numbers. After all, they still are playing baseball at mile-high elevation out there in Denver. But what they're doing this year really defies what they've done. It's a team that won 74 games last year. They thought, well, maybe they'll rebuild over the winter, or maybe they'll go for it. Right now, they are going for it offensively in a big way.
When you're swinging the bats like they are, a lot of guys are hot, but in particular, these three right now.
Well, Troy Tulowitzki right now is the best position player in all of baseball. I mean, you see the batting average that he has. He hits with power. He plays great defense. Charlie Blackmon, left-handed hitter. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but his batting average is great. And don't forget their third baseman. He may be the best fielding third baseman of our generation, Nolan Arenado. And Arenado is a guy that can not only pick it, he can hit it too, hit it out of the ballpark right now, a 28-game hitting streak.
You're allowed to say Arredondo. We used to have him here, remember him?
Yeah, we did, but the Rockies have Arenado, and he's the guy that we're worried about tonight.
Brian Price is worried about his offense, and he has proven already he is not afraid to realign the deck.
Oh, my goodness. I hope a little home cooking helps. We could use it. First pitch tonight, mostly cloudy. Won't be raining, 72. But if this game goes past 9:30, and it probably will, there will be a chance for a shower or a thunderstorm after 9:30. 69 degrees headed home. Woo! I think they may need a little bit more than home cooking. Ooh, something like that. Enjoy the game on Fox Sports Ohio.
Tim, thank you. Keep that rain away. I'm Jim Day. I'm on the field. And as the boys talked about in the first segment, Brian Price did a major lineup shuffle for this game. Still seeking some offense, particularly with Jay Bruce and Devin Mesoraco on the shelf. Joey Votto not in the 2-hole any longer. It is Brian Pena, and it certainly opened up a few eyes. Not your prototypical number 2 hitter, but Price says he's putting together such professional at-bats, hitting over 300, that he was the most logical guy to put in that 2 spot, because he wants guys on base, and he wants to put Joey Votto in a more RBI-friendly spot, and that would certainly be cleanup where he is hitting tonight. He wants Phillips and Votto up with guys on. And Brian Price, as we've seen, not afraid to be proactive.
It's not like me to be stagnant, and I think that there's some things that we can do to kind of, kick the offense back into gear. And, we're not going to sit on our hands. We're going to keep just trying to make things happen and create some opportunities to score more runs.
What a matchup we've got. The battle of the best. Cueto, perhaps the best in the league on the hill, and the Rockies, the best offensive team. It's game 1 of 3, and it's next on Fox Sports Ohio.
Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good, it's Skyline time. Walt Weiss, 50 years young, in his second year as manager of the Colorado Rockies. Let's take a look at his starting lineup tonight. Presented by Meyer. Blackman in right, the former Red Drew Stubbs in center, Troy Tulowitzki in short. Carlos Gonzalez in a cleanup spot, Nolan Arenado at third, Morneau, longtime Twin at first. Jordan Pacheco catching, DJ LeMahieu at second, and Yolis Chacin is on the mound. Right-hander Johnny Cueto, spectacular numbers. A 1.31 ERA in the league, hitting 1.32 against it. Delivers strike one to Charlie Blackman, the right fielder, and we're underway. Blackman, like the rest of these Rockies, just unbelievable offensive numbers. 348, 7 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Now, naturally, whenever you play Colorado, if you're able to access the information, you have to dive in immediately and look at their offense at home compared to their offense on the road. Overall, they scored 215 runs, by far the most of any team in Major League Baseball. The American League leader, the White Sox, have 184. But only 77 of the 215 runs have been scored on the road in 18 games. So something certainly worth keeping an eye on every year when you talk about the Rockies offense. 2-2 to Blackman. I mean, look at the numbers. 4 runs per game on the road, and that was inflated on a 3-game series in Arizona. And averaging almost 8 runs per game at mile-high altitude. Cueto thought that was strike 3, and so did Pena.
Well, these little comeback fastballs for Johnny Cueto just in off the plate, according to our box tracks.
So a 3-2 count on Blackman, and Cueto a long look in, and Blackman wants timeout.
You know, you can, I guess, disparage the numbers that the Rockies have on the road, but still 4.1 runs per game is better than what the Reds are averaging overall in the entire season. So you have to respect this offense. There's no doubt about it, because in this ballpark, this Rockies team over the years, the last 7 years, has been the toughest opponent for the Reds to beat. They've got more wins in this ballpark percentage wise than any other team, and they come in here swinging like they're in Denver. That's why it's nice to know when you got the first game of a 3-game set, you're running your main man out there in Johnny Cueto. You set the tone of the whole 3-game series. Those are the numbers that the Rockies have put up since 2007 I was talking about. I mean, Johnny Cueto is set, and his mindset is to shut him down now, and maybe they don't get back up the rest of the weekend.
Longtime Red, former #1 draft pick Drew Stubbs getting regular playing time right now because he's swinging such a good bat. 7 hits in his last 3 games. And an overall batting average of .319, couple of home runs, 6 runs batted in.
Well, they just came out of a series with the Texas Rangers, and it seemed like every time Drew Stubbs stepped foot back in Texas, where he is from, he always would swing the bat very well, and maybe that was a product of being down in his home Lone Star State.
They used to wear out the Astros when the Reds would go down there and play in Houston, and that's a swing and a miss. He's gone on strikes, 2 away in the inning. Take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealer. Once more, Schumacher in center, Ludwig in left, and Heisey still replaces the injured Jay Bruce in right. Regular cast along the infield. And Brian Pena, as Jim Day mentioned a moment ago, another lineup shift for Brian Price. We'll give you a full look at the batting order when the Reds bat in the bottom of the first inning. But Pena bats tonight in the #2 hole. Well, you talk about numbers. Troy Tulowitzki has played 34 games this year. He's knocked in 31 runs. He has 9 home runs, 11 doubles, and a whopping .407 batting average.
And he's not made an error in the field at shortstop.
And that's how you have to get him out right now. Is hopefully it's a rocket at somebody, and that's what he does to Frazier. Good start for Cueto. Reds coming up with that new batting order. Brian Price has juggled the lineup. Let's take a look, presented by Meyer. Still Schumacher leading off, but we mentioned Brian Pena to the 2-hole. Brandon Phillips now batting third, and Joey Votto slips from 2 down to the cleanup spot. Todd Frazier very hot right now at third. Ryan Ludwig in right. Ladder third of Chris Heisey, Zach Kozart, and Johnny Cueto.
Jolie Chachin making his second start. He was expected to be the opening day starter on this ball club, and he came down with a shoulder problem in spring training. He did 4 rehab starts. He's had 1 start under his belt so far this year. Not a good one. They expect him, and they need him back because he is a guy that has given them 14 wins last year. Had 2 seasons in the last 4 years where he gave the Rockies close to 200 innings.
That ball smoked the other way off the bat of Schumacher, and this will be a 2-base hit to begin the game. Maybe more than that. Schumacher now will slam on the brakes. That ball appeared to hit off the wall and sort of drop straight down to the ground. And Schumacher thought momentarily about going to third.
Well, Chachin gets the ball up right here, and Schumacher has shown himself here in a brief time that he's been activated off the disabled list to be ready. I mean, ready to play. Rifles it in the left center field gap. Is taking a look right there as to where the ball is, but remembering that with nobody out, you don't want to make that first out of third base. Run yourself out of a rally.
Chachin a year ago, as Chris mentioned, won 14 games. That was a career high. His innings pitched only 3 shy of 200. Pull to the right side. A productive out for Brian Pena, advancing the runner down to third base. Trout appreciates the effort by Pena.
So far, the mix-up in the lineup, or the change-up in the lineup, has worked just perfectly for Brian Price. You like that kind of thing, Tom? Moving a lineup around like that?
Hey, brother, I like exactly what Brian said. Not sitting on my hands and waiting around for something good to happen.
I think he's doing a lot of what people are sitting at home thinking, hey, let's do this a little bit. Let's manage a little bit and see what happens. I like it, yeah. I mean, eventually, I'm sure that he would like to ride out the same lineup every night and get great production. But with so many injuries and so many guys that are just not either injured and not be able to play at all, or injured and nicked up and out there playing but not at 100%, and not getting production out of guys you expect production out of, you got to do something.
We mentioned the other night the combination of Phillips and Votto, no matter where they've hit, they've knocked in combined a total of 17 runs. And Phillips with a chance to get the Reds on the board with a runner at third and 1 out.
Early in the ball game, Rockies playing the infield back. They'll give up the run. Which is a completely different philosophy than some teams. Cardinals might play the infield in a situation like this, even in the first inning.
Brandon fooled by that breaking ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Chachin is a guy who came up very, very young, and you even go back 2 years ago. He was given an 8-run lead in a game in May against San Diego, gave the lead up. They weren't real sure if he was ready for the big leagues. Did they bring him up too young? And then, as Chris mentioned, these last 2 years, especially last year, he proved that he is more than capable to be near the front of a major league rotation. Infield comes in on the 2-strike pitch, and it's swung on and fouled out of play. Now they'll back up, and we'll see if they come crawling in again. That's another move Tony La Russa used to pull from time to time, and who would know Tony La Russa better than the Colorado manager, Walt Weiss, who played for La Russa in Oakland for many, many years. Let's see if they come in. Here they come on a 2-strike pitch once more. And the 1-2. Fly ball. Plenty deep enough to give the Reds a 1-run lead, so they get the double. They move him over. They drive him in. 1-0 Reds in the opening inning.
Boy, when it works, it looks so easy.
So now Joey, a .263 batter with 4 home runs and 10 runs batted in. Bases empty and 2 out. Strike 1. Two balls and a strike. Chris mentioned Chacin making only his 2nd start of the year. That first one came at home against the New York Mets. He allowed 8 hits, 5 walks in just 5 innings, and the Mets got him for 4 earned runs. It's only the 23rd start in Joey Votto's career where these been placed in that cleanup spot of the batting order. That one nearly hit him. 3 balls and 2 strikes. But Brian Price, after 2 very, very difficult losses in Boston, certainly the Reds feel they should have won, not could have won, that they should have won both of those 1-run games, especially when the offense had so many chances to break the game open. On the ground down to Morneau, and that'll be all for the Reds. But they get a run, and the 1-0 for Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto certainly has been nearly invincible here in 2014. Healthy again. Won the 19 games. Garnered a lot of votes for the National League Cy Young Award in 2012. But in 2013, only 11 starts. Frazier will run it down off the bat of Carlos Gonzalez. Nice play by Todd Frazier, who continues to play outstanding defense at third base for the Reds.
You know, and especially when you get a guy out like Carlos Gonzalez. I mean, a former MVP and not a guy that has really gotten on track yet. Started off the season very good early, then you went into a slump, but you make this out right here and you keep him from swinging the bat in this ballpark. That's big. This is almost like playing against an American League team with the way that they are running away with it offensively right now. There's not an easy out in the lineup.
You can make the argument it's like playing against a video game team. I mean, every single player that comes to the plate. I mean, look at these numbers. The Reds don't have a player anywhere near half of the guys in this lineup as far as runs batted in are concerned. And that's not a knock on the Reds. It's just that's how good Colorado has been, and nobody's been better than this guy. Arenado with a 28-game hitting streak coming into play tonight.
Well, they had 1 hit last night against the Texas Rangers to keep that streak alive, although the Rockies were shut out last night. So maybe, just maybe, their offensive momentum is taking a little step backwards.
Well, when he got that base hit, Arenado, in his 2nd at bat last night against Matt Harrison of the Rangers, that set a new Rockies record with 28 straight games having a hit. Michael Kadire had a 27-gamer last year. Kadire is out right now on the DL, and Arenado gone swinging. Cueto's retired the first 5.
Johnny heats it up right here. He's going down and away, and then how about 95? A little four-seamer right there. This is really what separates, in my mind, Johnny Cueto from most all the other pitchers who are good, is his ability to step it up from 91 to 95 at will. Not just get into a good physical groove, but dial it up when you need it.
And truly, that's just another area where you separate not only the very good, but you separate the very good from the great, or even the borderline great to the absolute elite. And I know I bring up his name frequently, but I never saw anybody do it any better than Curt Schilling as a right-hander, where he'd be pitching 93, 94 the whole game, and when he needed 97, he'd find it at about 110 pitches.
That's the other thing that Johnny has been able to do. And this at bat, we've seen it. He's worked a number of different breaking pitches to Justin Morneau. Morneau, good, quick approach to the ball, fast swing, short. So they're trying to get him on some breaking balls.
Morneau, a 2-year contract. Of course, you may remember all those years in Minnesota for Morneau, and then traded last year to the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's where he ended the season. Pirates elected not to bring him back, and Colorado gave him a 2-year contract. And he's the first Colorado base runner of the game.
Well, he really did nothing with the Pittsburgh Pirates last year. He played in 25 games with them. He batted .260, did not hit a home run. I mean, in 34 games now, he's already hit 7 home runs. So I guess Coors Field was the elixir that he was looking for.
Jordan Pacheco getting a start behind the plate. .255 batter with 5 runs knocked in on the year. Looks at ball 1 low and away. Their regular catcher, Willeen Rosario, is on the disabled list right now. He had a nice year. Rosario did last year. He hit .292 with 21 home runs, knocked in 79 runs. So, you know, you look at this Colorado offense and you say to yourself, they've had their fair share of injuries. Rosario, their regular catcher, arguably their 3rd best offensive player. Michael Kadire has missed a significant amount of time. So that's a couple of big holes in this lineup.
I think Brian Pena was out to talk to Johnny Cueto about his alignment. You may have seen him gesture out there. Come on, get on line, putting his hand straight out, up and down, and kind of putting it up and down to say, don't pull off towards first base. That's what Johnny Cueto does when he begins to go bad. You know, a lot of pitchers have a problem of throwing too far across their body. For Johnny Cueto, it's exactly the opposite. He opens up too much, even whether it's out of the stretch or out of that full windup where he makes a big turn.
Strike 2.
Now the previous pitch, a changeup right there, 2-0 count. You're thinking you're getting a fastball, not so fast. A change, and then you do get a fastball, and you're a day late.
And you saw that reaction by Pena after the pitch, as if to say, see what I mean? Let's try that again. Straight up in the air. And this is in the field of play for Ludwig, and that's all for Colorado. They get a 2-out walk. 1-0 Reds after an inning and a half. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. A 1-800-OAK-OHIO. The Reds early in games being outscored by their opponent by 15, ranking among the latter 3rd in all of Major League Baseball. But look at the plus 30 differential, 2nd best in baseball after the 4th inning. That tell you anything at all, Chris?
That means they get down in a ball game and they try to come back and they make it close, but they're close enough to lose. They've lost their 11th the other night. Wow.
This is hit a ton.
Wow.
Look out on the river deck. Pow! Holy Moses! That's up there where the real men hit them.
I'm not so sure I'd be forearming that guy in the dugout.
No.
Oh.
You rarely ever see a player. In fact, Chris and I were talking about it, and I'm drawing a blank on who the player was the last homestand. It was a player from the opposition who hit a couple of balls up there in batting practice, and that was the first time in a long time I can remember anybody on any team hitting balls during batting practice up there. See it in a real game, more rare. Ludwig follows with a base hit into left field. That's got to be one of the 10 longest home runs ever hit in this ballpark.
Well, it's worth taking a look at the swing. You know, we've been saying how strong Todd Frazier is over and over again, but until you hit a home run like that, all you do is talk about it.
We'll wait to find out how far exactly that ball went. But
so we'll get an exact estimate.
Yeah, we'll get an estimate, and we'll find out where that ranks all time here at Great American Ballpark. Adam Dunn, if I'm not mistaken, has the longest home run in this ballpark. That was out by the PNC power stacks out there.
I thought he hit one out of the stadium and it bounced off the road and arrested against a piece of driftwood.
Yeah, it was out
on the river, or else it would have been headed downstream.
Juan Francisco hit one, you may remember, out of the stadium into right field. They're telling us it is 485 feet. Now, we'll have to do our best to find out where that ranks in the history of the ballpark. This one not quite as far. In the air, short center field, and Tulowitzki will backpedal to get it for the first out. We look at Colorado on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. Familiar turf out there for Drew Stubbs in center field, flanked by Cargo, they call him, out in left, and Blackman in right. Arenado is a rookie. Became the first rookie third baseman in National League history to win a Gold Glove last year. So we're wondering about the home run. It is the 6th longest in the history of Great American Ballpark. Adam Dunn, 535 feet. Juan Francisco, 502. Willie Mo, 498. Abercrombie back in 2006. He was a one-time Reds farm man, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't he, Reggie Abercrombie?
Yes, he was.
Then Alfonso Soriano in 06 hit one 492 feet. And now you can wedge in between Soriano and Derek Lee, Todd Frazier, 485 feet. 3-0 on Zach Cozart.
Oh, yeah.
Borderline strike there on 3-0. 3-1 on Cozart with Johnny Cueto in the on-deck circle, and the Reds returning home have scored in each of the first 2 innings against Chacín. 3-1 pitch popped up to the right side of the infield, and LeMahieu there, 2 away. Well, right now you have a chance to tweet your photo using #OhioFanPhoto. A chance to have it shown during an upcoming broadcast here on Fox Sports Ohio. Brought to you by AT&T. 1 in, 1 on, 2 out for Cueto. We'll keep you posted what else is going on in the National League Central tonight. Reds beginning play 6th behind the Brewers, who lost 2 in a row to Arizona. Cardinals are 4 back. Cardinals opening a series in Pittsburgh tonight, and in the second inning already trailing 2-0.
Liriano and Waka in that game.
And Milwaukee will entertain the New York Yankees this weekend. Game 1 of that series will start in about a half hour from now. Yankees 3 games over 500. They've won their last 2. One ball, 2 strikes to Johnny Cueto. Well, Mr. Welsh, a very short night we had after arriving here on. What time did you get to bed Thursday morning? Probably about 3:30, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So a good day to have an off day on Thursday for this Reds team after a late night from Fenway. A roller at LeMahieu, and the Reds are through in the second. But they get the 6th longest home run ever hit in this ballpark. 485 feet from Frazier. 2-0. Johnny Cueto, all about bringing the energy. Brought to you by IGS, bringing the energy. Reds pitchers with 60 or more strikeouts in any 7-game span. Not to start a year like Cueto has, just at any time. Well, we know Cueto's doing it right now. Jim Maloney 3 different times. Mario Soto 2 different times. And then Mr. Cueto. It's not bad company to be hanging around with. Maloney and Soto. Jose Fernandez, an electrifying second-year right-hander from the Miami Marlins, leading the league in strikeouts. Of course, another pretty fair youngster, Mr. Strasburg, number 2 on that list. Cueto has 2 more strikeouts tonight. And he'll be facing DJ LeMahieu, the pitcher Chacin, and then back to the top of the order in Blackman. 2-0 on LeMahieu.
You know, you look at LeMahieu and you think, well, he doesn't really fit the prototypical second baseman body, does he? I mean, after all, he is 6 feet 4 inches tall. And normally second baseman are those guys that you take the smallest guy on the field and you put him at second base because he's probably quick. He turns a double play. And since he is 6'4", he makes him the tied with High Pockets Kelly of the New York Giants in 1925, the tallest everyday second baseman in big league history.
Frazier in front of Kozai. 1 out. What's interesting as well about LeMahieu is, despite the fact that Arenado was the Gold Glove winner at third base last year, LeMahieu, all 6 feet 4 inches of him, was voted on by those that saw the team play every day as their best defensive player. LeMahieu last season. So now the pitcher Chacin. Chacín, born in Venezuela, still makes his offseason home there. And a pretty doggone good hitter now. You can't take this guy lightly. 2 years ago, he had 292 in a limited number of at-bats, but last year hit almost 200 with 7 runs batted in 63 trips to the plate. Wonder how much of that done in Denver. That's a fair ball, and that's a live ball that hitting the bad boy's chair down there and still in the field of play. So the first Colorado hit comes from their pitcher, Jhoulys Chacín.
You know, the first 3 pitches of the at bat, they were trying to pitch him away, and then Johnny decided, I'm just going to go ahead and sneak a fastball inside. Maybe didn't get it hard enough or in enough. The chair is part of the playing field, much in the way the same a tarp is part of the playing field.
Like Brian Price is wondering about that call, fair or foul.
Well, normally when it goes from home plate to the bag, it's the call of the home plate umpire. When it goes past the bag, it's the call of the third base umpire. Of course, the third base umpire, Chris Siegel, was jumping out of the way of it. But he was signaling as he came down, fair ball, very emphatically.
Tapper down to Votto, and he'll step on the bag to take care of Blackman. On to third goes the pitcher Chacín, and they're 2 away in the inning. Well, you can watch Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of Reds baseball all year with MLB.TV Premium. Visit Reds.com for more details. 2 down for Drew Stubbs, who struck out swinging his only time up. And a bouncer at Brandon Phillips. And we move to the bottom of the third, where the Reds lead the Rockies 1 and then 1 more, 2-0.
Kevin Goheen writes that Denard was a no-brainer draft pick for the Bengals. Plus, Manziel Mania has hit a Bengal rival. Read about the reactions to the Browns taking the Texas A&M quarterback. Get complete coverage of all of today's action involving Ohio sports on FoxSportsOhio.com. It's brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe. Spend less. Jim Day out here on the boat. And indeed, Todd Frazier, 485 feet. It actually hit the ball back here on the glass. And unfortunately, it hit this lady right here. And your name?
Lisa Kozlowski.
All right, Lisa, normally when you're in seats in the stadium, you know, you got to watch for line drives, foul balls. But you didn't expect one coming up here, did you?
Not at all. Not at all. Even though I was warned.
But it bounced off the glass and hit her. And this gentleman got the ball, right? It was the ball right here. All right, 6th longest home run in Great American Ballpark history.
All I had to do was fall backwards and pick it up.
Very nice. But Tom and Chris, these fans didn't expect the baseball coming up here, but Todd Frazier got all of that and more.
Boy, did he. Hey, JD, when you come back from out there, how about bringing us some of those nice hors d'oeuvres that they're serving out there? I know the food is awfully good out there at the
you're right.
Pilot House.
And the actual really good eats are up on top of the Pilot House.
Well, you're allowed to go up there. You're a big league operator.
I understand there's a celebrity up there, too.
Really?
There's a TV tease for you.
Ooh.
Okay. I'll tune in.
Well, it's nice to have Kate Upton here at the ballpark tonight. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Skip Schumacher. Schumacher doubled into left center field his first time up. That led off the game. And then Brian Pena batting in the 2-hole for the first time this year. Hit a ground ball to the first baseman. That sent Schumacher down to third. Then Brandon Phillips hit a fly ball to center, and that brought Schumacher home. 2-2 on Skip Schumacher, who clubbed his first home run as a Red. That came in Boston. Bouncer at Tulowitzki. And that's the way things start here in the Reds' third. Well, if a Red hits a home run off that Toyota side, and I tell you what, Todd Frazier, he almost hit the Tundra. Cindy Wahlberg will win the beautiful new Tundra. There it is. And you can register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game. You stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Good luck, Cindy. Cindy from out in Westchester, Ohio. Pena gave himself up for an out his first time up. Now looking to do some damage. Fouls it back, strike one. A 1-2 count on Pena, and a count even as it misses down and away. In the air right at Stubbs for out number 2. So Chacin trying to get through an inning without giving up a run. One in the first, one in the second, 2 down, nobody on here in the third.
Yeah, he seems to be using more breaking balls here than the first time through. Not that he used a lot of fastballs the first time, but of course, it was a first pitch fastball that Frazier parked out of here, and it was also a fastball that Schumacher hit against the left center field wall to get the rally going in the first.
Phillips a sac fly RBI to center field in the first inning. And behind, strike one. Two and two on Brandon Phillips, 2 down, nobody on. Chris mentioned earlier, Colorado, 3 consecutive losing seasons, and the numbers have not been pretty. 89 losses in 11, 98 losses in 2012. Walt Weiss's first year, while a 10-year improvement from the year prior. 74 wins, 88 losses. That one served into right field. That's something we saw Phillips do a lot of last year. And he will coast into second base. Funny slide there. And that's a 2-out double by Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, you can do this against a pitcher that doesn't have a kind of fastball to blow you away. The tops that Chacin has hit tonight is 90 miles an hour. So he's going to probably throw a breaking ball. There it is coming up to you, Brandon. Not bad location. Really on the outer part of the plate. Maybe even a ball. But Brandon can hang back, slice it down the right field line. Good bit of hitting right there by Phillips.
So So now Joey Votto, runner at second base and 2 out. Votto bounced out to Justin Morneau his first time up and takes here ball 1 low and in. I mentioned what an awkward slide that was by Brandon Phillips. There you take a look at this borderline strike, and apparently the very upper half, up and away upper half of that strike zone. Normally you see a player tuck the leg close to their body when they bend that knee. You go back and look at that slide by Brandon Phillips. He had the left leg going to the bag, and watch what the right leg does.
Also
it goes out
how late that slide is. I mean, he slid about 10 feet from the bag, which is very unusual.
Must be his Willie Mays Hayes impersonation. Strike 2 to Votto. One of the great characters of all time from Major League. So Phillips with a 2-out double in scoring position, 1-2 with 2 outs to Joey Votto. And now the count even at 2-2. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering what is Votto doing getting behind Phillips, of course that was a given for a long time. But then after moving to the 2-hole in mid-April, tonight Votto batting outside of that spot and hitting cleanup with Brian Pena batting in the second spot. 3-2 to Votto. Swing and a miss on strike 3, and that will end the third inning. 1 hit, 1 left, end of 3. The Reds with a 2-0 lead.
Reds with the lead over the Rockies here on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day with you, and as promised, there is a celebrity on the Cincinnati Bell Riverboat deck out here, and it is, in my humble opinion and many others, the greatest offensive tackle to ever play the game of football. He is Anthony Munoz, none better ambassador for the city of Cincinnati and charitable efforts. How you doing? How do you enjoy coming to a Reds game?
I love it. I love it. Big baseball fan. I've become a Reds fan in my time here in Cincinnati, and I love coming up here and watching the Reds. I really enjoy baseball.
There were some years there, some lean years for the Bengals, and let's face it, some lean years for the Reds. But both have them going in the right direction now. That has to be exciting for you.
It is. It is. Especially, my old team, the Bengals. I like what's going on the last 3-4 years. And, with Marvin and the guys, they've been drafting well, of course, right in the middle of the draft now. And, of course, the Reds doing well up until that pitch, it looks like. But no, I love what the Castellini family's doing. They're putting together a really good team, and I love coming down and watching them and following them. Not only here at the stadium, but at home at night. I turn them on and watch you guys on television.
Well, we appreciate that. And Troy Tulowitzki is as hot right now as you had games. You were that good. One last question. You played baseball at USC, did you not? What position did you play? Fill people in on your baseball prowess.
Well, actually, baseball is my first love growing up as a kid in Southern California. I was being recruited as a football player coming out of high school, but I wanted to play baseball in college. And USC had a track record of letting us play baseball even though we're on football scholarship. So they let me play. The only thing there, I had 3 knee operations in 4 years. But the one healthy year, I played baseball. Got to experience going to the World Series. We won the World Series, so I was on the national championship team there with Rod Dato. I would have loved to play more, but it didn't work out. But still a big fan. In fact, just about every year when I played for the Bengals, we played softball here locally in the league. So I got my fill of baseball during the summer when I was playing with the. It's always been a sport that I've enjoyed watching. I started playing when I was through college, so played quite a few years. So I'm still a big baseball fan.
That is big time right there. What an athlete, Anthony Munoz. And I tell you what, Tom Brennan, Chris Wells say hello. And there is none better person for Cincinnati than this guy right here. Class all the way.
Well, you're not lying about that. And the Anthony Munoz Foundation, him and his wife Dee Dee and their kids have been very active in that for a long time. I mean, he truly is one of the great ambassadors of anything which he represents. What a guy.
Now, Johnny Cueto gave up that leadoff home run to Troy Tulowitzki. 4 of the 7 home runs that Johnny Cueto's allowed has come to a hitter to lead off the inning. Of course, I think all of them except one has been a solo home run, which oftentimes is a rally killer anyway. But boy, Tulowitzki has seen 2 pitches. He's hit a lightning bolt of a line drive down there to Todd Frazier, and he's hit one into the Reds bullpen. Guy's hot.
That'll take, yes, he is hot. That'll take care of Arenado.
Great to have Anthony Munoz here, though.
You know, he was my broadcast partner when the Fox network started in 1993. First year they got the rights to the NFL. He was my first partner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice of them to pair you up with a Hall of Famer, maybe the greatest ever.
And I only saw the big fella, who of course is extremely religious young man and has been for a long time, and so the way he carries himself. That one bounced through the hole into left field against Cueto by Morneau, so he's aboard for the second time in a game. Reds have a 2-1 lead here. I only saw Anthony Munoz get mad one time.
Now you watch this swing from Morneau. You tell me he's not trying to hit the ball to that side of the infield and try to beat the shift. All right, when did Anthony get mad? Hopefully it wasn't at you.
Well, you know, now Buddy Ryan, legendary defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears under Mike Ditka in the old 46 defense. When he became a head coach and we were in a meeting and he started saying some things about the no-huddle offense and some disparaging comments about the Bengals and Sam Weish in that offense, and Anthony quietly reminded him, the one time we played against you, I did not play in the fourth quarter because we scored 42 in the first 3. Meal deal, and it's a great deal. Check out concession stands around the ballpark. You get a hot dog, a bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Cheez-Its. Make sure to get your Kroger meal deal next time you're at the ballpark. $9. A 2-1 ball game. Reds in front as they bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Todd Frazier led off the 2nd inning with a 485-foot blast to the CBTS riverboat deck out there in center, and this time a roller about 100 feet for out number 1. So our Nissan drive of the game. 6th longest home run in the history of Great American Ballpark. Rather odd to see a meeting here on the mound. The third baseman and the first baseman coming in to talk to Chacin before this at bat with Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig hooked one into left field through the third baseman and the shortstop. His first time up. 2-0 the count on Ludwig. Ryan was on base 4 times in that Boston series. Also knocked in a run. On base 5 times, I beg your pardon. And knocked in a run. Reds losing each of those games on Tuesday and Wednesday nights by a single run, identical 4-3 scores. But now back here on the home front and naturally involved in another 1-run game. We brought up before the Boston series, it would only figure that the two teams would play tight games. Boston leading the American League in 1-run games played. The Reds leading baseball in 1-run games played. They played 16 of them so far this year. And there's ball 4 to Ryan Ludwig. That'll be the second walk, or the first walk, I beg your pardon, given up by Chacin tonight. Well, coming up later on, we'll have our Miller time moment. He popped up to the shortstop, his only at bat tonight. And he pops up a little further this time. And an easy play for Stubbs. Boy, the Reds hitters making it quite easy, at least Frazier and Heisey against Chacin so far here in the 4th inning. Frazier went up there and actually showed a bunt on the last at bat.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that. I mean, he got a first pitch fastball for a home run. They hit almost 500 feet. Then his next time up against the same pitcher, they're playing him back in the infield, and he shortens up as if to lay down a bunt. Got down 0-1, then chased the pitch out of the zone for an easy dribbler to first base. That was curious.
Tulowitzki will throw out Cozart, and that will end the inning. Another first pitch swinging. Reds lead by a run. Create great dishes together by Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com and go for the Save on Wing Tuesdays at B-Dub. Specially priced wings all day long. Buffalo Wild Wings, Wings, Beer, Sports. I think it's probably safe to say, hopefully not getting ahead of myself, that for the first time it feels as though spring has truly arrived here in Reds country. Of course, we've flirted with it from time to time, as there's a base hit on the first pitch here in the 5th inning by LeMahieu.
I would say so, with temperatures at least feeling like around 90 degrees yesterday. Not sure if it hit that much.
It was warm yesterday, but nice. None of that, humidity yet. That'll be coming, I'm sure, sooner or later. But this entire week, anywhere from the mid-70s to the mid-80s. And the same old's true for this upcoming week. 8 of the first 17 batters in this game have swung at the first pitch of the at-bat. We referred to Mike Leake from time to time. There goes a runner, and they let him swing away. And so they'll avoid the double play. That gives you an idea of what they think of Chacin. We brought up his offensive prowess earlier. They start a runner with a pitcher in the plate.
And not only a pitcher at the plate, but a pitcher on the mound who is second in the league in strikeouts. I mean, he's got 60 strikeouts, Johnny Cueto does. So he misses a lot of bats, but they still feel like the contact is in order. I'm stunned by that, but it worked out for him.
So now they'll turn their attention to Blackman 0 for 2, already batting for the 3rd time. Each team with 4 hits. Reds with a 2-1 lead. Colorado with a tying run at second base. Ball 1. We're talking about Cueto, and Chris touched on it. He's allowed 7 home runs so far this year, accounting for 8 of the 9 runs total that he's allowed on the season. It's only one time has anything other than a home run plated a run this year in Johnny Cueto's first 7 starts.
This guy at the plate is a guy that they really feel like is on the verge of becoming a superstar type player. Charlie Blackmon. He was drafted 3 times before he finally decided to sign that with the Colorado Rockies. Drafted out of high school, drafted out of his first year in junior college, and then he went to Georgia Tech and was drafted there. Stole 30+ bases 1 year when he was playing A-ball, and so he's got a nice combination of speed and power. 7 home runs and 25 driven in this year, batting leadoff for these guys.
That'll be a base hit into center field. They will wave around the runner, and it's a 2-2 game on a 2-out, 2-strike base hit by Blackmon, plating LeMahieu.
It's a good short swing right here, Blackmon. This ball has gotten up, though, by Johnny Cueto. He's just trying to run a 2-seamer inside, and it comes back out over the plate. Blackmon takes it back through the box.
Drew Stubbs 0 for 2 is struck out swinging and bounced out to second base. You know, not only what you brought up about Chacin and them sending LeMahieu, which obviously is a very big play in this inning. Well, not only Cueto the strikeout pitcher, with a pitcher at the plate, but you pointed out many times Cueto is one of the toughest guys in the world to run against.
Well, he's not given up a stolen base yet this year. Now, there are left-handers that are tough to steal on, but Johnny Cueto is in his own category when it comes to right-handers shutting the running game down. Only 4 stolen bases in the last 4 seasons given up by Johnny.
Blackmon took off and stopped. He's 8 out of 10 in stolen base attempts on the year.
That's pretty good speed they've got at the top of the lineup. When you go back-to-back Blackmon and Stubbs. Stubbs not an everyday player, but still when he puts in there, we've all seen the kind of speed that Drew has.
Of course, Stubbs has that rare mix of power, and he has a lot of power. He's a bigger guy than he probably looks to be on television. Very strong, tall, fast, extremely athletic.
Showcase player. The kind of player that goes to a tryout or a showcase, and the scouts are just falling all over themselves trying to sign him.
Of course, his entire career has also been met with a very low on base percentage and an extraordinary high level of strikeouts. And that's the second time he struck out tonight.
Now we'll call it our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. A fastball on the outside corner. Johnny Cueto against Drew Stubbs. Stubbs thought it was outside. Johnny's got it at 95.
Well, you might want to take your chances even flipping it up there underhanded against this guy the way he's going right now. Tulowitzki hit a rocket that nearly took the glove off of Todd Frazier in the first inning. Frazier caught it. And then Tulowitzki hit a long home run to center field for the first Colorado run of the game. Fouls it out of play, a strike. Our steel power tool performer, why wouldn't he be? Look where Tulowitzki ranks among all National Leaguers. A little over a month and a half into this year. They have Tulowitzki signed for the long haul. He's knocked in 90 or more in his career 4 times, once and only once eclipsing 100, and that was 105. And he's up there to swing the bat. There's no two ways about that. Their #1 pick going back to 2005. He only spent 126 games in the minor leagues. That's it. 22 games after he was drafted, 104 the next year, to the major leagues ever since in '06.
They're just trying to make sure that they keep him healthy, because he has proven that when he is healthy and playing, he'll put up incredible numbers. But he's been sidelined by a number of different injuries recently. A fractured rib, strained groin muscle, kept him out for quite a while. In this at bat, though, Cueto's kept nothing but fastballs on him. He had a slider for a home run, the rocket line drive he hit down to the third baseman. I think in the first inning was a fastball. Cueto all of a sudden went from 92, 93 to 96 in one of those pitches against Tulowitzki.
Struck him out looking with a fastball at 95, and that'll end the inning. But the Rockies tie the game, and Tulowitzki is hot. He might get run out of here if he's not careful.
One more.
No.
Keep talking.
He'll walk away. His manager.
And on that last pitch to Troy Tulowitzki, he got hot at the home plate umpiring. Corey Blazer having a conversation with him right there, and I got to figure that Tulowitzki was within a word or two of getting run from this ball game. But when you're talking about facing Johnny Cueto, you're talking about one of the best in the National League in striking guys out looking. He has 30 of them, and that leads the National League.
All right, Cueto to lead things off in his 2-2 game. Schumacher next, and then Brian Payne. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Johnny Cueto.
He's still talking. Asking Doug Eddings to maybe for an appeal. What'd you think from out there? 135 feet away, Doug.
Tell you though, this is something you and I started to talk a little bit about before the Red Sox rallied while we were in Boston. And everybody's different. Everybody's personality's different. But, when we were talking about the 2 real leaders of the Boston Red Sox as Cueto's gone swinging in Dustin Pedroia and David Ortiz. Now, Ortiz is not a position player, he's a designated hitter, but the passion that these guys show and the emotion that they show, which certainly has been a focal point and a rallying point for Red Sox fans as long as those 2 guys have been around. And you and I were talking, and I made the comment that that's the kind of guy fans love to see. It's why Pete Rose, not just being a Cincinnati guy, when he went on the road, the reaction he created because of the fire and the hustle and the emotion. And certainly Tulowitzki is a guy from day one. He walked into big league, says his team belongs to me.
It's a great point about players like that. The fans do like watching.
They love them.
Yeah. He may be a hot dog, but he's our hot dog. That guy's not a hot dog, but I mean, he's obviously got a little fire in him.
2 away in the inning. Well, tomorrow we invite you to join us, and we invite you to join us 30 minutes before the start of every game here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live comes your way, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. 6:30 tomorrow night. Big night here tomorrow night.
Let's visit a little bit more about that. The conversation Tulowitzki had with the home plate umpire, Blazer, after that strikeout. Now, he knows you're not going to change his decision. Well, the best that he can hope for is that Corey Blazer, next time he comes up there, these umpires know who the hot players are, who the good guys are. He knows that Tulowitzki's leading the world in just about every offensive category. He may have bought himself a marginal pitch to go in his favor sometime during the rest of the night.
Of course, basketball coaches are frequently working on that very thing. To perhaps buy the benefit of the doubt, if nothing else, and an umpire, referee would never tell you that happens, but maybe it does.
I guess the key would be to push the umpire far enough, or the referee, to get in his head a little bit, but not so much that he's going to thumb you out of the game.
Tulowitzki will load up and throw a missile over there to first, and the Reds are gone in order. Reds only have one hit over the last 3 innings. 2-2 game. Ball game on a beautiful Friday night here in downtown Cincinnati. We're delighted to have you with us. Look at those young ladies. Looks like that little girl on the right, 3 in, celebrating her birthday. I believe that sign. Yep, that's it. I want a Reds win for my birthday.
What a great place to come for a birthday party.
Sure is.
Here for fireworks night too.
Good for them. Two runs, 5 hits for Colorado. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Reds. The Reds scored in each of the first 2 innings. The Rockies have scored in each of the last 2 innings to tie this thing up. Carlos Gonzalez takes off the plate inside. Ball 1. Gonzalez originally came up with Arizona. And boy, were they producing players when he first came through their system. But before he ever got to the big leagues, and make mistake, he was the most highly touted player in their organization. I mean, he was the man. And they traded him to the Oakland Athletics. High fly ball. And Gonzalez will be retired for the 3rd time tonight. But then when the Oakland A's needed the big slugger Matt Holliday at the trade deadline, the Rockies said, well, we'll make that deal, but we want Carlos Gonzalez. And he's been in Colorado ever since. It's another guy they need to stay healthy, Chris. You talked about Tulowitzki. This guy did not play a full year last season.
Well, he's not off to the greatest of starts, but after all, he's hitting .283. His 7 home runs would be leading the Reds team in home runs. His 25 ribbies would be leading this team too, and you don't even hear much about him. That's how much everybody else on this Colorado team is going off offensively.
That's a weak pop up. So Arenado's 28-game hitting streak has started 0 for 3 here tonight. Not hit the ball out of the infield against Cueto. Well, speaking of the hit streak, you look at third baseman with 28-game hit streaks or longer going back to the start of divisional play. Look at some of the names on that list, starting with the National League record holder, Peter Edward. George Brett 30 in a row. And Arenado knocking on the door to get to that 30 mark. Morneau a walk and a single into left field.
We're talking to Walt Weiss before the ball game. He could not say enough good things about Justin Morneau, about how his approach, his professionalism hasn't given a team a bad at bat yet. It just kind of changed the way a lot of the younger players go about their business.
Didn't Larry Walker wear number 33 in Colorado?
Couldn't tell you. I'm not really a
I thought he did.
Uniform numbers guy.
Of course, he was from Canada. Morneau is from Canada. And he is wearing number 33. Just remind me, I'm not a big number guy either, but when you see that swing, the left-handed swing, and he hit that ball the other way, it just reminded me so much of Larry Walker's swing. That guy could play.
Man, I just remember him hitting the ball about 450 to right field.
That too. He could do it all. That's one of the greatest athletes that's ever played baseball. That guy was, what a player.
Cueto trying to throw that little backdoor cutter right there. He thought he had it. Well, look at that the grouping though on that particular shot we showed you. How he is all around the periphery of the strike zone. I mean, just take a look at where these pitches are in the strike zone. I mean, they're just all over the outside. Right on the edge or near the edge. You live down the middle and you're taking an early shower.
Cueto's allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, 3-2 pitch, and a bouncing ball to Brandon Phillips, and right through 4, 5, and 6 in the order, in order. So the Reds have Phillips, Votto, Frazier trying to break this 2-2 tie. Sundays always family days here at Great American Ballpark, and every Sunday home game take advantage of Reach Magazine's family deal. When one member of the family buys a full price ticket, you get the option to buy 3 additional tickets at half price. Every Sunday's game has a giveaway for the youngsters. Call 513-381-REDS for more ticket information. All right, 3-4-5 in the Reds batting order in this 2-2 game series opener with Colorado in town. Another National League Western Division foe will arrive on Monday. That'll be the San Diego Padres to start a series Tuesday night. Phillips knocked in the Reds' first run with a sac fly to center field, plating Skip Schumacher. One and 2 on Brandon Phillips, and Chacin a long look. front of the plate. Chacin will get there and throw out Brandon. One away. Well, tonight, Reds fans from Kroger's over on Mason Montgomery Road took the Fan Express to Great American Ballpark. To get your group on board the Fan Express, call the Reds Group sales at 765-7600. Not a bad little ride down 71. Up from Mason Montgomery Road.
Those traffic jams don't seem near as bad when you're in the Fan Express.
That's for sure. Joey Votto 0 for 2 has bounced out to Morneau and then struck out ending the third. Todd Frazier waiting. He hit a home run back in the second inning. A 2-2 ball game here in the bottom of the sixth. The only Reds hit since the start of the third inning was a 2-out double by Brandon Phillips to right field. And then Chacin got Votto on strike swinging on a 3-2 pitch. 2-1 offering to Joey. In the air, left center field, and it's caught out there by Gonzalez. Nice play by the left fielder, and they're 2 away in the inning. Todd Frazier, that 485-foot home run. 6th longest home run in the history of Great American Ballpark. That came, if you weren't with us, back in the second inning. Down a strike. And 1 now on Todd Frazier. Well, beg your pardon, the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes, not 3-1. We always believe John Browdy, who runs our Fox box. This will be a 1-2-3-6 inning for Chacin. We're on our way to the 7th in another tight one. 2-2 game. Here at Great American Ballpark, you'll want to get here early. If you're one of the first 25,000 fans, you receive a Homer Bailey no-hitter dual bobblehead presented by Unilever. That's tomorrow night, the big Homer Bailey no-hitter dual bobblehead giveaway. Tickets are available 513-REDS or log on to Reds.com. Homer will not be on the mound tomorrow night. He will be pitching on Sunday in the series finale. Reds will have an off day Monday. They're not going to need that number 5 starter for at least one more time through the rotation. And of course, they haven't needed one since Tony Cingrani went on the disabled list, what with 3 off days total. Last Monday, yesterday, this Monday. So we'll see what happens by then. Two-two affair here in the 7th inning. Pacheco fouls it away. Cueto ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. You have 7, 8, and 9 in the batting order. But it should be noted that the number 8 and 9 hitters have played a significant role in this game with the bat in their hand. Tapper at Brandon. 1 out. LeMahieu had that single to center field to begin the 5th with the Rockies down a run. And with the pitcher at the plate, they started the runner. And by doing so, they stayed out of a double play. As the pitcher Chacin hit a ground ball at Brandon Phillips. LeMahieu advanced on to second and then scored the tying run on the base hit by Charlie Blackmon.
So really, if he had not started the runner, Reds would be up 2-1 instead of tied at 2-2.
Cueto has fanned 5, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits. Only 2 of the outs have been on balls hit into the outfield. I mean, everything else has been a ground ball or a pop up to the infield. One away for Mayhew, a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swung on and fouled out of play. Boy, it's as everybody knows, the NFL draft is also going on right now, and it was, teams in the 2nd and 3rd round, they can get a former player, a former great, a coach, whatever it is from their organization, and how classy it is of the Bengals and Kenny Riley make their pick tonight. If there's a guy that should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame for those Bengals teams for a long time, certainly quarterback Ken Anderson and Kenny Riley. Two and 2 on LeMahieu. And now full count. Eighth pitch and is hit back to the Colorado second baseman. And that's a pitch that puts him away. 6 strikeouts in the game for Johnny.
Just another superb performance in this ball game by Johnny Cueto. Finally dropped the slider on him, it looked like. Or maybe the changeup. The way that ball went down, it could have been a straight change. I'm not so sure that that's what LeMahieu was asking home plate umpire, but another game in which Johnny Cueto pitches great. The Reds don't score very many runs. You almost feel sorry for Johnny Cueto from the standpoint of run support until you realize that as bad as the Reds have been for Cueto scoring runs in his behalf, They've averaged 2.78 runs per game when he's been in there in the starts that he's had so far this year. There are 10 other pitchers in the National League that are worse than Johnny Cueto when it comes to run support.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
Johnny Cueto is number 11. We're talking about Francisco Liriano. He gets 1.6 runs a game. Cueto's getting 2.7.
Well, they're going to bat for the pitcher Chacin. They'll send up Corey Dickerson, young outfielder. Very good pinch hitting numbers for him.
I remember Chacin has just come off the disabled list. This is his second start since coming off the disabled list. Had really bad shoulder from the very beginning of spring training. They want to make sure that they keep him healthy.
Tell you what, he looked a little shaky early in the game when he allowed a run in each of the first 2 innings, but over his last 4 frames he allowed 1 hit and retired the last 8 batters he faced. Oh, and 2 on Dickerson. And gone on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. 7 punch-outs for Cueto. Can they get him some offense tonight?
Is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
And welcome back to GABP. I'm Jim Day. Just 3 days removed from having surgery on his knee, Jay Bruce is back in the Reds dugout. I talked to Jay before the game, and it's very interesting. His knee problems actually extend back to last year. He had no idea the severity of the injury. He said it was just a nagging thing that would nag him here and there, flare up here and there. He carried it into spring training where it flared up a bit, but as the season went on this year, it just got worse and worse to the point where the past couple of weeks, he said he couldn't even put weight on his left foot or left knee. And at that point, he said, I'm hurting the team. I better get this checked out. Got it checked out. Partially torn meniscus. Had it repaired. And actually, amazingly enough, told me today that he has no pain whatsoever. 3 days removed. He's walking fine. He says the only thing I need to get out of there is the swelling. And he hasn't even started rehab yet. So amazing that happened, and a good sign for Cincinnati, and a deep one, Todd.
But in the air to right field, and 1 out to begin the inning. And, from a guy who obviously is a lot older and nowhere near in the kind of physical condition that Jay Bruce is in. Chris, I don't know if you've ever had a torn meniscus. I've had one on each knee. And, there gets to a certain point where you kind of keep going. It bothers you a little bit. And as Jim then described, once you reach a certain point and the tear is bad enough, it is constantly hurting.
Well, if it catches in the joint and it locks your knee up, that's when you have no choice. That's what happened to me. Like, I did it in the batter's box. I was trying to swing at a high fastball at Riverfront Stadium, and my back cleat stuck, and I swung and missed, and everything turned and rotated on that knee, and I used it was strike 3, fortunately, and I used the bat as a crutch going back to the dugout. And Pete looked at me and said, "Stop messing around." I said, "I'm not messing around. I'm not going back out there." And had surgery, I think, a day or 2 later. Man. So I mean, if there's no complications, you can come back very quickly. I pitched on the 21st day back in a major league game after that surgery.
It's taken Adam Ottavino all of 4 pitches to retire Ryan Ludwig and Chris Heisey. And now he'll face Zach Cozart with the bases empty and 2 out. 10 in a row retired by Colorado pitching. The only Red to reach base since the 4th inning was a 1-out walk to Ryan Ludwig. They only have 1 hit since the end of his 2nd inning. A 2-out double by Brandon Phillips. Brian Price Again, moving pieces around this lineup and hoping to find something, anything, to give it a jump start. Minus 2 big bats in this lineup. The aforementioned Jay Bruce, and of course the regular starting catcher who is not going to cover off the ball, and Devin Mesoraco. Whoa. A rocket by Cozart, but right at Arenado. Reds have gone up and down 3 straight innings. On our way to the 8th in a 2-2 game. Out of the gate, they got a double by Schumacher. He went to third on a ground out, scored on a Brandon Phillips fly ball. 1-0 at the end of 1. Went to 2-0 on the 485-foot home run by Frazier in the second. Reds have been quiet ever since. Tulowitzki cut the lead in half with a home run to left center field in the 4th inning. And then a 1-out base hit by Blackman, scoring LeMahieu in the 5th. We're tied at 2. Johnny Cueto still on the mound, and the Rockies have the top of the order coming up against him. Well, Johnny Cueto has now pitched at least 7 innings, allowing 2 or fewer runs in each of his first 8 starts this year. Something done only 4 other times over the last 100 years. 8 was the number. 7 was the number. And now 8 has only been done. Cueto the 3rd to do it. Boo Ferris back in 1945 with Boston. And Fernando Valenzuela in 1981 with the Dodgers. Cueto had 7 coming in alongside Roger Clemens and former Dodger Claude Osteen. But once more, Cueto in a game where his team has generated very little offense behind him. A guy with the lowest ERA in the league at 1.31. And yet Cueto only 1 game over the 500 mark. They haven't scored for him at all in 3 of his 7. That one is hit foul down the third base line by Blackman, 1 of 3 with an RBI single. Cueto had allowed only 1 run in his last, well, during that 3-start run where he had back-to-back complete games. Went 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, and a no decision. Team lost in 10, 1-0 in Atlanta. Bottom fell out of that pitch.
Man, I mean, for Johnny Cueto, you know, it's not about his fastball. Although he can throw it 96, it's how he hides the ball. He flashes that glove at you after a big torso turn at the very beginning, and then his expert control. Look at that pitch where it goes, number 5 there. Right on the black, on the knees. He's got a pitch that'll cut into your hands. He's got one that goes away. And he's not throwing the ball down the middle of the plate.
Stubbs showing bunt. Drew 0 for 3 in the game. Has struck out swinging, bounced to Phillips, and struck out looking.
You know, when you see the kind of numbers that the Rockies are putting up this year, you got to ask yourself, well, who's their hitting coach? And they have a new batting coach this year. His name is Blake Doyle, one of the 3 Doyle brothers that played baseball back in the 70s and 80s. You may remember Brian Doyle or Danny Doyle. In fact, Blake Doyle played some minor league ball right here with the Reds organization.
Oh, boy. That is abuse. 2 away in the inning.
And Blake Doyle really has no professional coaching experience. They didn't pluck him out of the minor league somewhere. He wasn't on somebody else's major league staff. He was running the Doyle Baseball Academy down in Lakeland, Florida, and as coincidence would have it, he developed a relationship with Walt Weiss when Walt Weiss was 14 years old, growing up in New York. He went down to the Doyle Baseball Academy for a wintertime clinic, and he was a pitcher, Weiss was, and they had him doing some PFPs and stuff, and Blake Doyle said to him, hey Walt, on the next time around, why don't you take some ground balls and you be the shortstop, because he showed such a good arm. And he did show some ability to play short. So when he got on that plane and went back to New York, he was no longer a pitcher. He was a shortstop / pitcher. The rest is history. And that relationship continued on throughout the years. And that's one reason, and the main reason, why Blake Doyle is the Colorado Rockies hitting coach.
Great stuff. Well, his prize pupil is up there at the plate right now in a 2-2 game. Tulowitzki is lined out to third, homered to deep left center, and struck out looking.
Well, he has about one of the most upright stances that you'll ever have. So many times you see guys bent over. They bend over at the waist. They bend at the knees. But look how upright Tulowitzki is.
But then you notice when pitcher goes into his windup, though, those knees come down and he's locked and loaded and ready to go.
Yeah, his knees aren't locked, but his hands are locked, and he gets those hands back there ready to go is right.
Tulowitzki none too happy when he was called out by the home plate umpire on strikes his last time up. And ran way in on him, and he pops it up foul. And even before this at bat, Tulowitzki. And Blazer still talking.
Hey, I think Troy was assuring him that he was still on the Tulowitzki Christmas card list, despite having disagreement there on that outside strike 3.
Funny swing there, and look out down that right field line. And falling down is Heisey.
I don't know whether it was a fall down or whether it was a way to just slow him down without crashing into that wall. That wall has about 3 inches of padding, and behind it is like about 4 inches of steel.
Cueto standing here waiting on Tulowitzki, who walks a good 25 feet out of the box, now fixing his batting gloves. Still standing out of the box. And now both feet in. Wow, what a pitch that was. That just ate him up for the final out. How about that inning? Not a ball leaves the infield. Cueto, 8 innings of 2-run baseball. As the Reds come to bat here in the bottom half of the 8th inning, as soon as a pinch hitter was announced, the Rockies are going to go to their bullpen. This will be our Skyline call to the bullpen. So Ottavino gives them a perfect 7th inning. It will be left-hander Boone Logan here in the 8th. Back in a moment. John Morrell hot dog play of the game. That final at bat. And what now is the final pitch thrown tonight by Johnny Cueto. That fastball, well, Chris, 97 miles an hour.
Best one of the night there for Johnny Cueto. I mean, he was on his game just about like he has been each of the other 7 starts he's had. Just a tremendous start to the season. If the Reds score one right here, they put him in a position to be the winning pitcher.
Well, Lord knows he has earned it, not almost every time. He has earned it every single time. All 8 starts this year. He has not allowed more than 2 runs in any of them, and he's only allowed 2 runs in 4 of the 8. Everything else, 1 or none. So Billy Hamilton, who injured a pair of knuckles on his left hand, his glove hand, is batting for Cueto. Boone Logan, a left-hander they brought in during the offseason. At times, Logan can be as good as anybody around.
Yeah, he's a hard thrower, mid-90s.
And then at other times, he can't find a plate. I mean, they basically ran him out of Chicago after he had pitched well for Chicago. 1 ball and 1 strike. I'm at the White Sox. The opponent's batting average at 205. Hamilton has been unable to start a game in over a week. And remember, he got hurt diving on the first pitch thrown of that 4-game series a week ago yesterday. And this one down the line, and look out. Hamilton on his way to second. He'll stop right there. That's a good play down there by Blackman.
Boy, you're not kidding. 1 bobble and he's on third.
So Hamilton, a double to begin the 8th.
But this ball gets by Blackman down there in right field and maybe curves around that corner. He would have been easily the third, maybe more.
Schumacher, and the Rockies very much believe that Skip will be up there to bunt. It's batting in the bottom of the 8th inning, leadoff double, and Schumacher lays it out there beautifully. Hamilton to third, representing the go-ahead run with 1 out here in the 8th. Perfectly done by Schumacher. I'm not so sure there's a handful of guys in baseball you would want at the plate for your team wanting a sacrifice bunt more so than a guy like Schumacher.
No, you're right. Guy's a gamer, man.
Well, do they stay with the left-hander Boone Logan? We're going to turn around Brian Pena and have him bat from the right side. Huge at bat in this game. Now Pena from the right side does not have many appearances. Only 7 at bats this year. 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Naturally, in a 2-2 game, the Rockies will bring the infield in. Fastball up and in, ball 1.
Well, if you're thinking about possible squeeze play right here, can the batter put it down? That's a question. He put down 2 successful bunts last year. He's got 8 in his career. Brian Pena. You got Tulowitzki over there playing really close to third base, making sure that Billy Hamilton doesn't get a big start.
2-0. Fly ball into right center field. Making the catch, Blackman. Here comes Hamilton. He is safe, and the Reds have the lead. Pena gets the job done.
pitch by pitch right here. A couple of fastballs against Boone Logan. He misses inside. He gets to a point where it's a hitter's count. And on a breaking ball, Brian Pena sees that's high enough and far enough out over the plate. I can at least get a fly ball. And that's enough to get the speedy Billy Hamilton home.
And, you know, Chris, it's where you make a great point there, because you talk to the great run producers. And I remember Barry Larkin sharing this conversation with us last year about Tony Perez, sharing it with him. Runner at third, less than 2 men out. The ball down low, you're going to have a hard time driving in the air and getting it in the air.
You're right.
The pitch up in the strike zone, and in this case, out of the strike zone, is where Pena goes out of the zone on a ball he knows he can hit into the outfield.
Well, he's not thinking base hit. He's thinking get the run in, and he knows with Billy Hamilton out there, he's seen Billy Hamilton tag up and score on just about what we saw was an infield fly. So all he has to do is get into the outfield, and that was a great approach by Pena.
They appealed over there, nothing doing. Says Chris Siegel, the third base umpire. So Hamilton, the igniter here. Hopefully that is a sign that we're going to see Billy Hamilton back in the Reds lineup as early as tomorrow. He has not started a game since he injured that left hand, re-aggravated really the left hand, as Hamilton scores a go-ahead run, and now the Reds are 3 outs away from giving Johnny Cueto the win. If they can nail it down, we're off to the ninth, and Broxton trying to do just that. Your photos using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto. Here's tonight's fan photo of the game, brought to you by AT&T. Tim, thank you very much for that. Well, coming up right after the game, and hopefully that's shortly, it'll be Reds Live. We break it down for you after every Reds game, brought to you by King's Honda. All right, Chris, here we are. Jonathan Broxton now with a chance to save this thing for Johnny Cueto.
Just like the script that Brian Price drew up before the beginning of this game, I'm sure. Score in the 8th, keep the fans happy, go up by 1 and bring Broxton in, and hopefully he will be able to nail down save number 6. Well, that was a nice team run, just like the one they had in the first inning when Schumacher led off with a double and came around to score. A double by Billy Hamilton did it.
All right, it'll start with Carlos Gonzalez. You saw the defensive changes. Schumacher at left. Billy Hamilton stays in the game to play center. And they have Heisey in right. Carlos Gonzalez 0 for 3 is fouled out to third. Struck out looking, popped up to short. Another one-run game for the Reds. This time they're in front by a run. Broxton did not pitch in a game in Boston. I'll tell you, here's another guy starting to get back to where his velocity was for a long, long time.
Yeah, we even saw him last year, Tom, and his velocity was down in the low 90s, and he was pitching, 90, 91, coming out of spring training, having had surgery over the last year, trying to rehab it a little bit. But you're right, it is little by little climbing back up there into the closer type speed. Well, look where Pena's sitting up. And he throws it up there.
And I've said it once and I've said it 10,000 times. Give me $1 for every time that doesn't work. I'll give you $1 every time it does.
Well, he wasn't simply going up the ladder there. I think he just wanted to waste it high and away. And maybe Gonzalez would be anxious and chase it.
Doesn't the half batter have to see that?
Oh, yeah.
1-2 delivery. Knocked down by the big man. And he'll flip it to Votto, 1 out. Don't forget Mother's Day Sunday. Why not bring mom here to the ballpark? You can take advantage of the Reach Magazine family deal. Reds and the Rockies. By taking advantage of that, first 10,000 moms receive a Mother's Day cosmetic bag thanks to Biz and Oxidol. We'll look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Big Mother's Day weekend. Let's do it right. Well, now Arenado, a 28-game hitting streak on the line. 0 for 3 in the game, and like many of his mates, has simply not hit the ball out of the infield tonight. Strike one from Broxton at 96 miles per hour. In fact, Colorado has not hit the ball out of the infield since the 5th inning. They've not had a runner reach since a run-scoring single by Blackmon in that 5th. And now 0-2 on Arenado.
Well, that was kind of a flailing swing right there by Arenado on that last fastball. He doesn't look like he likes the ball away. And maybe that's where they ought to think about staying right here.
Nothing into the count. One ball and 2 strikes. We'll do it once more. Pitch in the dirt. That'll even a count on Nolan Arenado. 28 consecutive games. Arenado at least 1 hit. This Colorado team leading the National League in virtually every meaningful offensive statistic. Johnny Cueto gave him 5 hits in 8 innings. And Broxton a strike away from retiring the first 2 here in the 9th with a 1-run lead. Did he go? They appeal. No! Says Brian O'Nora. Now 3 balls, 2 strikes. Broxton v. Arenado. Pretty good at bat here by the third baseman. Broxton takes plenty of time in between pitches, gathering his thoughts, okays his sign. And once more the payoff pitch. And Arenado draws a walk. So he's a tying run with 1 out here in the 9th inning, and Morneau coming up. Well, he got ahead of him in that at bat. 0-2. That waste pitch with the catcher standing up. You go after him then a couple of times down and away, get a foul ball, and then a missed 3-2 pitch. And here's Morneau. It was walked, singled, and bounced out to Phillips. That time on the outside corner, a strike. Colorado team 7 games over 500 coming into this series against the Reds. Trailing the division leading Giants by 1 game out west. And now 1-2 on Justin Morneau.
Yeah, Morneau really trying to flail that ball into left field, swinging late. He's not the kind of left-handed hitter that rolls over on the ball a lot, and thereby doesn't get a lot of ground balls, nor does he get a lot of ground ball double plays. Arenado at first base, not much of a lead at all.
Driven into left center field. And this is up against the wall. Arenado on his way to third. And here comes a throw. It's offline. And Broxton allows a double to Morneau on a 1-2 pitch. And we are tied at 3. Johnny Cueto cannot win the game.
Now, despite the fact that Arenado did not have a big lead at first base, he's able to score on this. It looked like the ball came off the scoreboard out there in left center field awkwardly for Billy Hamilton. And he got it. He threw a low peg into the relay man, Cozart. And that throw just a little bit late. Well, that's a deflating base hit for a lot of people in this ballpark.
Now Pacheco. When you look at both of those at bats, Broxton had Arenado with an 0-2 count. Ended up walking him. And was ahead of Morneau at 1 ball and 2 strikes before giving up the game tying double. I mean, you could almost hear a feather land on the grass. It's so quiet in this ballpark right now. All the energy of the run, the go-ahead run, looked like perhaps a winning run in the Reds' bottom half of the 8th inning, and we know now they will bat in the bottom of the 9th. That's in the air, and this should be the second out of the inning. There was a lot of talk about Aroldis Chapman being activated today. That did not happen. It could come as early as tomorrow. Chapman threw so many pitches in those back-to-back rehab games that I'm not even sure they could activate him today and use him.
Well, if you activate him and don't use him or cannot use him, it's like playing a player short. So why would a team intentionally do that?
Swung on and fouled out of play.
I would imagine that everybody involved, and it would make just common sense. You want to get this team as healthy as possible as soon as possible. And if the next step is Chapman tomorrow, then they will probably do that.
Oh, and 2 on LeMahieu. 3-3 game, runner at second base. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Look ahead to the Reds' bottom of the 9th inning. They'll have Votto, Frazier, and Ludwig due up. Or I beg your pardon, Ludwig now out of the game. So that would be the pitcher spot. Due up third. And available on the Reds bench, Bernardina, Neftali Soto, Ramon Santiago, and Tucker Barnhart. Nice play by Brandon, inning over. Rockies tied 3-3 off to the bottom of the 9th. Time rivals the Dodgers. That'll be at 3:30. Then you come right over to Fox Sports Ohio. Catch the Reds and the Rockies. Alfredo Simon looking for win number 5. What a year he's having. Jordan Lyles off to an outstanding start for Colorado. Reds Live will get underway at 6:30 tomorrow night. Well, Boone Logan was 3 outs away from getting hung with a loss. And now all of a sudden he will take the ball to try and send this baby into extra innings as he faces Joey Votto. Figures to be the only batter he faces with right-handers coming up. See the numbers for Votto.
He's got 10 runs batted in, 9 of them against left-handed pitching.
And all 4 of his home runs have come against left-handed pitching. That is hard to believe. So in other words, Votto has played, that is mind-boggling. That Votto has played over a month of baseball and has not hit a home run and has 1 RBI against right-handed pitching. Wow.
Well, let's hope he gets number 10 against lefty.
Two and 0 the count on Votto. Good hitters count right here. And now 3 balls and no strike.
Yeah, Logan is all over the place. Pacheco behind the plate wound that ball down and away, and it nearly hit Votto.
Votto trying to get aboard to begin this bottom of the 9th inning in this 3-3 game. High fly ball. Straight away center. Did he win it? He did. About that on a 3-0 count. Votto launches one to center. All 5 of his home runs this year have come against left-handed pitching, and that's the 4th time he's ended a game on the home front with a long ball. And that's also the 4th time he's hit a 3-0 pitch to hit a home run.